Hello, my name is David Riddle. Welcome to our channel, How to Home Life. We recently reached more than 11,000 subscribers, and I want to thank all of our subscribers and for your remarkable comments supporting our channel. If you are new to our channel, we make educational videos on how to properly do things around your home and shop. We have several videos demonstrating how to build, fix, and restore items, with more to come. In some of our videos, I mentioned that I've been a professional inventor, designer, and manufacturer of custom tools utilized in the fields of mechanics, electronics, and optics, improving creativity and productivity for more than 50 years. Many of our subscribers have asked about my other inventions, and in this video, I'm going to talk about and show you several of these products that I've created, fabricated, marketed, and sold worldwide. It seems I've been an inventor all of my life, imagining what is and what could be. Because of my idiosyncratic brain providing me with a high acuteness mind's eye pre-visualization, these brain images run continuously. Starting around age 6, I began utilizing my opposable thumbs and my father's tools to turn these mind's eye images into tangible forms. These brain images are my greatest strength, as I was a total failure in the memorization and testing environment of traditional schools. The best I could do was a 1.0 average, and my only degree is 98.6. Passion will always transcend formal education. All the objects on this table and the photos in this video of the many products that I produced and sold were all imagined in my brain as complete objects, then fabricated without drawings of any kind. I produce drawings only when an outside vendor is needed to produce large quantities of components in products that I have designed. The inventions of man, of any kind, must first be imagined in our brain. Only then can they be constructed, tested, documented, and produced for distribution and used by other individuals. It appears to me that on this planet, only man can conjure complex ideas within their imagination that have never existed, and through the use of our opposable thumbs and appropriate tools, turn these ideas into a tangible form. Now, these tangible forms can be utilized in making music, art, literature, science, engineering, manufacturing, architecture, social remediation. The list is endless. Invention is all about turning ideas into tangible entities, providing solutions to problems we all encounter in life. Creators and makers receive gratification on a continuous basis because of the life-altering journey of conception to construction to adoption. The memory of that journey lasts a lifetime. Most consumers must continually consume to receive any short-term gratification. This is why their new car smell always goes away. The first product that I designed, manufactured, and marketed was a vacuum synchronizer gauge set for multi-cylinder motorcycles. I was 20 years old. I had purchased a used Honda 750, CB 750 four-cylinder motorcycle, and because I wanted to maintain it properly, I went to the local Honda dealer, Colby Honda, and asked for the service manual, the factory service manual. And in the factory service manual, I noticed that there was a required tool list, and in the required tool list, they had this vacuum synchronizer. So I asked the parts manager how much was the vacuum synchronizer, and he said $387. Well, I only paid $935 for the whole motorcycle, so I wasn't going to spend that kind of money to maintain the motorcycle. So I went to my local auto parts store, bought some 4 vacuum gauges and some vacuum line, and went to the aquarium store to buy needle valves, and bought some Bundy tubing to make up probe sets for these probes. And I photographed the first product, and I took the very first prototype back to the Honda dealer, and I asked the parts manager if he was interested, and he said, "Wow, this is pretty amazing. How much you want for it?" And at the time, I charged $35 for this product based on my cost and estimate. And he says, "Sure, I'll take 10 of them." And that started my first product business, which was designing these. Now, this is much different than the photograph that John's going to have up on the screen to show you my first brochure that I had for this product. And you'll see it looks quite different than this particular product. But believe it or not, I still have all the components in stock for over 50 years I've had them in stock, and to build a new example of this just for this video. But this particular product, I individually calibrated all the gauges. I designed the manifolds and the vacuum pumps and all these different things that were required to be able to calibrate and make precision instruments like this. And the issue was that they didn't come from the factory calibrated, so I had to learn how to bend the Bourdin tubes and all the other areas to make this thing properly function. And eventually I got a distributor, and that distributor, I've sold thousands of these. And like I said, I was building most of this in my garage, and it was that simple. In 1975, after selling the vacuum synchronizer division, I received a call from Jim Bongiorno. He asked if I was interested in a full-time consulting position as head of manufacturing engineering at the Great American Sound Company, and I accepted. Great American Sound, or GAS Company, was initially capitalized for $175,000 from a construction article for a fully complementary transistor 200 watt per channel stereo audio power amplifier kit called Amzilla, selling for $340. That appeared in the September 1974 issue of Popular Electronics magazine. By January of 1975, when I arrived, GAS Company had not shipped a single amplifier kit to consumers. My first task was to rewrite the kit assembly manual Jim Bongiorno wrote, because technical writing was not Bongiorno's forte. Antagonizing audio magazine editors and waitresses was. My work at GAS Company included designing factory floor plans, AC power distribution and lighting, designing and fabricating specialized workbenches, custom assembly fixtures, electronic test fixtures, new product development, equipment packaging, engineering documentation, test procedures, inventory and quality control procedures. This, plus a never-ending stream of other technical endeavors. The only engineering I wasn't involved in was the actual electronic circuit topology utilized in GAS Company products. In 1979, I left GAS Company to be at home with my wife and newborn daughter, and to pursue one of my other interests, again, holding life in stasis, photographic equipment. This business, also named Four Designs Company, was centered around remanufacturing the many thousands of discontinued and obsolete professional Polaroid cameras, 110A, 110B, 180, 195 models, that I sold to over 8,000 photographers and cinematographers around the world. These cameras were equipped with high-quality optics, standard f-stops and shutter speeds, and were utilized in pre-visualizing proper exposure and the dynamic range of scene lighting before committing to regular film recordings. I was solely authorized and recommended by Polaroid Corporation to do this specialized work that eventually was successful enough to make a living and to pay for the higher education of my 2 children. By 1984, I started a new musical products division under the Four Designs name, designing, manufacturing, and marketing a line of equipment and accessories for professional audio engineers and musicians. Eventually, the product line included 13 items that were sold through 350 dealers throughout the US and the world. I eventually sold both the photographic and the musical products division to my longtime junior high school friend, Bob Kohler, who also produced and sold many thousands of these cameras, allowing him to send his 3 children through higher education with this same one idea. Bob renamed the musical products division Effects Products. Bob Kohler is still in business under the Four Designs name, repairing and selling electronic test and measurement equipment. Around this time, I attended a local AES, Audio Engineering Society, meeting along with my longtime friend Dan Seifert, and met Marshall Buck, who was presenting his new coaxial two-way loudspeaker he had designed for Cerwin Vega. In his demonstration, he was utilizing a vocal-only recording of a female singer that sounded fantastic with an incredible dynamic range and no background hiss. Immediately after Marshall Buck's demonstration, I walked up and asked him what equipment was playing back his recording of this singer. He pointed to this diminutive silver box and said, "I'm using a Sony PCM F1 16-bit digital audio processor and a VCR." I said, "How much for the PCM F1? He said $1,500, and I said, "Sold." I built a portable recording rig that included the PCM F1, video recorder, and other custom-made equipment that I utilized for various musical performance recordings made on location, and won an Emmy for an outdoor performance of the opera Faust. By 1996, I was now involved and working at the highest levels of feature film and video production, designing custom tools for professional use. These tools included state-of-the-art underwater camera systems, camera cranes with remote servo heads, sound recording, sound reinforcement, and music playback systems, video assist systems, and a vast array of highly specialized technical equipment that I personally designed and fabricated in my fully equipped laboratories and manufacturing facilities. In 1998, Bob Kohler introduced me to eBay, and I immediately recognized this gathering of individual sellers and buyers as a historic shift for marketing and commerce. Cottage industry could now be global. I decided to become a selling member of the eBay community in December of 1998, and by 2022 I had sold hundreds of thousands of individual items and tens of millions of dollars of remanufactured used technical equipment and fully guaranteed custom-made new OEM products and services that I call tools of creativity and productivity to very satisfied customers and corporations around the world. In 1990, Dan Seifert was the chief engineer and designer of the JBL Synthesis Series multi-channel loudspeaker and electronics system. Included in the original $50,000 price tag was Dan's revolutionary idea of having a technician equipped with Dan's custom-designed computer-based test equipment package arrive at every installation to calibrate the entire synthesis system in each customer's unique room, the world's first speaker company ever to do this. The JBL synthesis system was very successful, winning several prestigious industry awards, selling many thousands of units, and still to this day is the flagship of JBL's speaker and electronics line. Even with this success, Dan realized that his synthesis calibration tools could not solve all of the unique acoustic issues that are present in every different room, especially any sounds above 350 hertz. Beginning in 2011, myself and two partners, Dan Seifert and Marshall Buck, formed a new corporation, Infinite Environments, and commenced building the world's first and only fully engineered audio and video reproduction facility. I talked earlier about all of these objects on this table that were made without drawings, but there are certain ones that I did have to make drawings. In my music products division, this was called a rock mount. It held a Tom Scholz Rockman, which was a portable belt clip amplifier for use by guitarists to have that great sound and effects in that. And these I did have to make drawings of because I sold thousands of these, and I did make drawings for my outside vendors who built the sheet metal and the other items in the unit itself. But starting from far left, okay, or my left, is a light that I designed from a Seoul Semiconductor made these street lights, and this is how bright that is. And you can see it's extraordinarily bright. In addition, and they make, Seoul Semiconductor makes LEDs, etc., for commercial applications. This is a function work light that I designed and built with rechargeable batteries that I have these plugged into a solar panel, and the solar panel is what charges the batteries on a continuous basis. This is a 2,000 watt timer that controls a programmable timer that allows you to control electronic equipment or electromechanical equipment with up to 2,000 watts. This is a 0 to 67 volt DC variable power supply, and this is a 0 to 500 volt at 200 milliamp high voltage power supply. There are certain things like this is a custom microphone preamp, differential preamp. This is a mic splitter. This is an ultra high gain amplifier that I use for troubleshooting and for tracking noise in other devices, so I can turn up the gain really high on the output of it and determine where the noise, if hum and or noise, is existent. These are two stereo power amplifiers that I designed and built to be as miniature as possible.
Some of these inventions
Yes.
were made just for you personally to help you in your work. So not all of them have been marketed.
No.
Some of the other products.
Many of these have not been marketed. They were specifically built for my own purposes. Obviously, the the music products division, these products here, the cameras were all designed to be, and were mass marketed, yes.
So some of the stuff on the table is, oh, I just need this tool for myself, and you built it.
Exactly, and in this case, this is a device that is used to exercise potentiometers. It basically is a potentiometer that goes back and forth and then has a counter attached to it, so you can measure the life cycle of a potentiometer. This is custom built for a customer to test the durability of the potentiometers that they utilize in their equipment. And I also built it so I can also attach this shaft, this flexible shaft, to this device, and then I can exercise a potentiometer built into a piece of equipment.
Well, this was commissioned by a client.
This was commissioned by a client, but
Explain that. He called you, and what did he say?
I needed a device to be able to exercise potentiometers to see what their lifetime is. And so I built this device, and it uses a servo motor, a servo gearhead motor with a standard chuck, a standard drill chuck, and it just goes back and forth. And the wobble plate here allows any misalignment on the shaft. But that was a specialized piece of equipment. It was used extensively to test my customer's potentiometer, and he elected to give it back to me after I was done with it. This is another mono amplifier, and this is a load bank, which is a resistive load bank for use in testing audio amplifiers. This was the very first Variac, and you'll see a lot of Variacs that Jon will put up on the screen.
Explain what a Variac is.
This is a Variac, is a variable auto transformer that takes the 120 volts or 240 volts from the wall and allows you to vary it from zero, in the case of a 120 volt Variac, from 0 to 140 volts. That's a very typical range.
The application is for musicians, for lighting?
No, it's for lighting and for other things, but most of all, it's used to design electrical and electronic equipment that needs to be tested over a wide range of voltages to make sure it's still functional. This is a custom-made stereo camera using two 35mm SLR cameras, and the most important function of this camera is it bends in the middle, just like that. And the reason it bends is so you can do close-up work with a camera. Most stereo cameras are designed for a certain distance based on the interocular distance. This allows you to have hyper stereo focus, and you can view through the viewfinders and view both images simultaneously in stereo. So it's a very unique camera that...
What's the application?
The application is to make stereo photographs, high-resolution stereo photographs. The other piece of equipment, this is a small volt and millivolt meter, as this is also. This measures both volts and amps, up to 20 amps, and this goes up to 90 volts. So it's a little, I built these instruments using scrap materials that I've had around, and in fact this one also is a precision analog voltmeter, and it's really important to have analog voltmeters based on the fact that they allow you to determine trending and that's what the analog meter allows you to do, is to do trending. This is a high power 0 to 3,000 watt. It tells you a direct readout of watts. Whatever appliance you plug into this, it'll tell you how many watts it uses at its maximum load, etc. This is a same thing, but this is only 0 to 10 watts, where this is 0 to 3,000 watts. These are designed for small engine repair. These are basically to test the charging system of small engines that have a battery and a charging system in them. This measures not only the current that's charged, it puts a load on the electrical system, discharging it, but it also allows you to monitor the ripple current, which is the pulsating DC from the rectifier, and that's what those devices are designed for. And we already talked about the cameras. Here is another photographic device. This was a camera that was designed for the Gemological Institute of America. This allowed jewelers who would remove stones from various jewelry and then photograph what are called the findings or the remainder of the jeweler. And so this was an instant push button design that gave them an instant photograph of a close-up, and it had included close-up equipment all designed into it.
Was this commissioned?
It was commissioned, yes, for the Gemological Institute of America. This is a high-resolution viewfinder for the back of a Nikon digital SLR. This piece of equipment was used by Santa Claus cameras during using Polaroid instead of digital. This is long before digital. It was basically every time the flash would trip, this counter would count. It had built-in batteries. And the reason that was done is that the operators that owned the Santa Claus function at the mall or the market would hide that, and so that they knew that their employees were not going and buying Polaroid film and then pocketing the money. That's what that device was designed for, is for shrinkage. These microphones you see here, this is all SM58, Shure SM58 capsules, which I have quite a few of, and in my machine shop, I mounted into various handles for different feel and different switches and different functions. This is a Shure 545L that I mounted and made all of this accessory to have a total isolated shock mount for this. And the other devices that I have here is a light that is extremely bright, as you can see, extremely bright. And this uses a 15 amp LED that was originally designed for a military surgical light. And then I incorporate this with a lens. This lens is a salvage from a rear projection television set. This is a piece of ABS tubing that I bought at the Home Depot. This is a heat sink that cools it, and there's a fan. This all runs on 5 volts. And so this is what this does is that it provides a incredibly intense image, so you can read signs up to a quarter mile away because it illuminates those signs. And by the way, the materials for this are available from Surplus Sales of Nebraska. Surplus Sales of Nebraska has these LEDs. You just contact Surplus Sales of Nebraska and ask for the LED and and they may even have these projection lenses. These are combination glass and plastic lenses, but they have incredibly bright, as you can see, intense, really intense. A few other things I want to show you are this item right here. I don't know if you understand what that is. That is an array of high-frequency piezo tweeters. Now, I built this particular device to be able to silence dogs, and it works very effectively because I have a 150-watt portable power amplifier connected to a function generator, and I dial up that frequency until the dogs instantly stop barking because they can't stand the intensity of what this produces at high frequencies. This goes well beyond our audibility.
Does it hurt the dog?
It doesn't hurt them. They stop barking because they are dumbfounded by this intense noise well within their hearing range.
And what was the impetus behind making this?
Because I have a friend who has dogs that continually bark all the time, and I brought it over to his house, and instantly it stopped the dogs barking. Wow. And it's very intense, and eventually the dogs learned apparently not to bark, but whenever they would bark, he would turn this thing on, and it would automatically drive these dogs nuts, and they would stop barking.
Talk about wagging the dog.
Yes, indeed.
One other item you got, Dave?
Well, this is something I invented called the Riddle lift. I, along with a good friend of mine, developed what's called the Riddle lift, basically a telescopic truss that goes from the height you show here to 27 feet in the air in under 20 seconds. Unfortunately, I can't do it in this building, so we're going to show you a video that was shot earlier of this operating outside and show its functions. It's a really unique device that nobody else has ever supplied anything like this. The point of invention in all of these items that I built for myself were intended for a specific purpose. Like I said earlier, I've always been an inherent inventor almost my entire life because I I found that I needed to be able to use my opposable thumbs and appropriate tools to bring my ideas into tangible form, like I said earlier. But
so when you think of something, I need this. Okay, I need this tool. Then what happens in your brain? What do the gears start doing?
well, like I said earlier, I possess high acuteness mind's eye previsualization. That's why I don't make drawings unless I'm going to have somebody build many of them, and then I send out drawings to have an outside vendor produce those items. But in the case of my particular brain, I go through all the possible design iterations within my mind's eye before I even sit down or even pick up a tool to do.
So you're seeing a slideshow in your brain.
It's a total slideshow in my brain. And the point is that when I was very young, I remember watching this commercial on television from General Motors and said, "We design cars with computers." And they showed what's called a wireframe CAD of a brake rotor and a caliper, and they rotated it and exploded. And at the time, I thought everyone could do that in their mind's eye. Well, apparently it's not that common. But it doesn't matter whether you have that high acuteness mind's eye previsualization or not. You can always make drawings of things, but almost all of our population are inherent inventors. We're always trying to solve the problems that we encounter in life, like I said earlier. And so the biggest...
What's stopping them from inventing? Not everybody's inventing.
Well,
they may be inventors, but not many people do it. What's stopping them?
Typically, it's fear of failure, that they're not going to be able to accomplish it. But in reality, failure is the most powerful object lesson that we can possess as humans. The only department of our education system that teaches to failure is the athletic department. The coach is going to make you do things you are absolutely going to fail initially at, but they try to walk you through that process. Unfortunately, most of our population has been told by the teachers that if you fail, it'll be permanently on your record. Well, obviously, I failed right away in school, so that wasn't an issue for me. So I was able to overcome that fear of failure because I already had failed many times. And that's really what I do, is I constantly am thinking about what is and what could be, and I set about making tools. My particular area of expertise is tool making, tools for professionals working to be more creative and more productive. That's what this is all about.
And let's talk about marketing for young inventors. Tell them about, you're an expert marketer, Dave. Not all inventors are.
Well, here's what happened to me when I was in the 4th grade. A friend of mine told me, "Hey, you can order the Allied Radio catalog, and they don't know you're a kid." And so I got this catalog from 1963, and I read all 495 pages of that catalog. It was a perfect tutorial for me because of the way my brain works. And I was able not only to learn the lingua franca or the lexicon of electronics, I also learned marketing because they had everything there. This is our most popular product, which is called bandwagging. It says market segmentation, which is good, better, best. There's all these different things that I learned about marketing. But before the internet, I was spending more than a third of my gross sales on advertising because the magazines were charging incredibly high rates to advertise anything you wanted. Even in a specialty magazine, it was really difficult. Well, once I saw the internet, I realized everything's going to change because of the internet, and that's when I started using eBay, like I said earlier, marketing a lot of different products.
The other thing, Dave, you talk about too, I don't know if you mentioned yet, is passion. Talk about passion.
Well, passion is the single most important thing that we possess. Passion will always transcend formal education. If you're passionate about something, you're going to find out how it works, how it's built, how it's sold, everything about it, because you're really focused on it. And I used to tell 4th graders when I would do mentoring in classrooms, I would say, here's my suggestion of how to turn on your passion antenna. Everyone in this classroom has remembered, and this is a 4th grade classroom, everyone has remembered when they would wake up in the morning and they would go, "Oh, it's so cold out, I don't want to go to school," and it's Saturday. Well, that's our job in life, is to make every morning Saturday morning. And that's where you find your passion. Find that thing that you love to do and follow that path. That's the single most important thing I can recommend.
Last question, Dave. So in the past, you've talked about using making things as therapy. Talk a little bit about that, how making can be a therapy for not only for people that are healthy, mentally healthy, but maybe people that are struggling with other addictions. But how could that relate to therapy?
Well, here, let me explain. All humans have what's called transitory depression. That means that someday you just wake up and you don't feel that well. You don't feel, it's not something discernible, it's not a pain, it's just a sense of depression. Well, in my life, I've been able to absolutely eliminate any transitory depression by simply being more creative and more productive. That immediately erases that process of depression. It works extremely well.
What happens? You get a sense of when you
accomplishment. It's all about I've accomplished something. I have something. In the case for me, it's always something tangible that I hold in my hand. I mean, it could be anything. Like I said earlier, it could be writing songs or music or literature or whatever it is. There's just so many different things humans can do. And my suggestion is the most important thing you can do is start doing it. That's the single most important thing. Just go do it. Get rid of that fear of failing at it. It's not the worst thing that can happen.
Describe the high.
Well, it's a euphoric feeling. If you know what euphoria is an elevated sense of well-being based on accomplishments. And that's what I've been doing my whole career. If you have any questions about my inventions that you have seen in this video or about the actual process of inventing, please post them in the comments section. If you have created your own inventions, please share them with the rest of our viewers also in the comments section. Feel free to include links to your inventions so we all can see them. Your post will enlighten many other viewers who are learning the invention process. I have talked about marketing my new products in this video. If you need help marketing your idea or product, please contact me. My phone number is in the description section. We have helped other inventors bring their products to market using video, social media, and YouTube. My partner Jon and I recently helped an inventor in the landscape sector go from 0 sales to over $1 million in sales in only 1 year. Jon and I, through our videos, have started a digital community of inventors. So please like and subscribe to our channel so you can be informed on everything we are doing to meet the goal of turning consumers into creators. Thanks again for watching this video.